G'day mate, Paul again here, how you going? Hey, I've got a new toy and I thought I might open it on YouTube. My mate reckons to me if I do openings, or unboxings I think it's called, on YouTube, I'm going to get millions of subscribers and lots of likes just instantly, so why wouldn't you? So yeah, I'll do that I reckon. But before I do it, let's have a quick little chat on what this is and why I bought it. Yeah, as you've probably seen, I'm fairly new to YouTube and videoing and all that sort of stuff. I've been a photographer for many years, and I reckon I can take a pretty good photo. Problem is, a lot of us photographers reckon we can take good video too. Like, how hard could it be? And we're often very mistaken, as it opens up a whole new ball game of requirements and knowledge needed, of course. Now, there are some similarities, of course. I'm using a camera. I'm using my Nikon Z7 at the moment. The exposure and focus and all that sort of stuff, although there are some subtle differences and frame rate and all sorts of stuff that you might have to worry about. But one thing us new videographers, if you like, often fail at and underestimate is audio. Now if you look back at some of my videos, I've only done a few, been some really bad audio, I must admit. Hasn't been too bad while I've been in the office here. Even I was smart enough to have a little lavalier mic or a lapel mic, and that's just wired in directly into the camera. So it's not too bad in here, although it's probably a bit of an echoey room, my office. It's just a shipping container actually. But yeah, it's certainly okay. One thing I often use out in the field actually, when I'm using the GoPro, is this little thing. It's just a little Rode microphone on top. And yeah, I'll often do quick little videos of this, and I think I can improve on this, visually as well as audio. But yeah, the audio we're talking about today. Now this actually records pretty good. When I'm holding it close and talking clearly to it, sometimes I'll be walking along, like in this scene here, have a listen. Well, that's wildlife photography, isn't it? All good, come to expect that. Normally I'd wait there a lot longer and be a lot more patient, because we're on a bit of a schedule at the wildlife park. And yeah, it wasn't too bad, was it? But have a look at this scene. This is quite embarrassing, and I've got a few scenes like this, and in these scenes I had to really ramp up the audio, and it just sounded like mush, to be honest. All the background noise got ramped up as well. So yeah, have a listen to this. Alright guys, got the big aviary. It's like a big dome, basically. Lots of different birds in there. Got double doors here to walk in. So yeah, that's how bad it can be. Now I could carry this lapel mic around, I guess. Being wired to the camera like that, I'd probably trip over the wire. So I don't think that's going to work. You can get into wireless setups, can't you, and all sorts of things like that. But yeah, it's just more to go wrong and a bit more expense. So yeah, I did a bit of research on the intrawebs, I guess, and I came up with the Zoom F1. I think there's a couple of manufacturers that make similar things, but basically the idea is you record just directly to the Zoom itself, to this little thing you can just clip on your belt or in your pocket. You put a little memory card in it. Now you might wonder, well, that's a bit interesting if you're recording the audio separately. You've actually got to sync it with the audio, with your visual that you're videoing. It's not that hard actually, so I'll give you a quick look at that as well. Alright, I won't go into too much more detail about this right now. Let's actually unbox it so I can get all my subscribers and millions of hits. We'll do that, and then I'll show you a bit in use and how we edit it and synchronize it with the video and all that, and the advantages of using it. Alright guys, let's do this unboxing, shall we? And instant YouTube success, I hear. We'll give it a go. Well, let's have a look. Maybe I should have practiced this earlier. I always wreck these, look at that. I'm hopeless. It's all good. Not a really expensive bit of equipment, so it's not like keeping the box is imperative, and if you ever sell it, and you'll lose its value if you don't. A lot of my lenses and stuff like that, for instance, I keep in my boxes. Alright, here we go. We'll chuck that aside. Looks like everything's there. So yeah, we've got the Zoom F1, the lavalier microphone. That's the I don't know what that is. Oh, that's the belt clip. That's the shirt clip, and we've got a couple of batteries. Alright, well let's take it out and have a look. Alright, so the actual Zoom itself is quite a little handy looking thing, isn't it? Quite small, not very heavy at all. We'll go over this in a little bit more detail. I can see a couple of ports on the bottom or the top. I think I've seen on other videos you put upside down your belt so the ports are on top and you can read it then. read the screen. It's got a little LCD screen. Looks quite handy. So that's quite light actually. It's lighter than I thought it was. It's a little bit smaller than I thought it was, to be honest. It's quite neat. This is the belt clip that screws on the back. I've got 3 spare little windshields there. That's pretty handy. Couple of AAA batteries. I've actually ordered some rechargeable batteries in AAAs and AA's. I've got it mounting up with little gear for this video stuff. All sorts of things needing batteries, so the rechargeable should be handy, but these will be good just to be able to test it now. 1 clip. And 1 lavalier microphone that's actually a bit wrapped around the place. The microphone I'm using at the moment has a really long lead. I'm hoping this one's a bit shorter because I'm only going to be, having it running it from my pocket to my chest here. I'm hoping it's not too long. It does look like it's a bit shorter, but I think I'll still be curling up a bit of cord in the pocket. That's all good. From what I read, the lavalier microphone isn't, really high grade. I think it's going to be quite sufficient, for my requirements. I'm not doing broadcast quality video or anything, am I? I'm sure it'll be fine. And this one I'm talking on now is I think it's like a $30 mic from the local, electronic shop or something. It really isn't a good quality mic. It's just, a lot better than on-camera microphones and all that at a distance, of course. So it's probably going to be better than that anyway. But I think if you're getting really professional, you might upgrade this microphone. But we'll give it a good test. But I'm quite positive that it's going to meet my needs quite easily. We'll find out. All right, let's go into a bit more detail and have a closer look at this thing, eh? All right, guys, I've put the batteries in the little Zoom and I've powered it on. One thing I did see from other reviewers, the battery door can be quite annoying and tricky. I actually found it quite easy, so maybe I just fluked it. We'll see how we go. I've got pretty big fingers and hands. Normally I'm pretty clumsy with tricky little doors and things like that. But no, it's no problem to me, so yeah, stay tuned. Maybe I just fluked it. All right, so I'm turning it on. First thing we see is a little setup menu. So I'm going to select English, next, and now it wants me to set the time and the date, which makes sense, I guess. You do put a little memory card in it and it writes files, so I guess it timestamps the files, doesn't it, which is quite handy. So I'll just set that date. All right, that was pretty painless, setting the date and time, although there was one little tricky bit. I didn't know what it was, so I woke the computer up behind me to check the date and time. But otherwise it's quite simple. Now it's asking for a memory card, so I've got a little micro SD card here. I'll put that in there. Looks like it goes in upside down. All right, so before we actually show you the interface and the buttons and what they do, let's just have a quick look around the little device. So yeah, the back's fairly straightforward, nothing really there. There's a little screw hole there, and that will be to screw on this belt clip. So the belt clip will go on there and you'll be able to hook it on a belt or on a pocket or whatever, I guess. But you do have these bars here too that a fairly thin belt would pass through by the looks. So yeah, we'll have to give that a go. But yeah, going around the outside, we've got the 2 ports. Basically, it's a line in or microphone port and a headphone port, so you can monitor your audio if you want to. On the side here, we've got the battery, the 2 AAA batteries, and we have a USB port, a micro USB, and we also have the volume, and I assume the volume is just for your headphone volume. On the other side, we have the on button, and quite a useful thing on the on button too is we have a hold setting. And what I understand that is you put it to hold once you've set it up and you've got it ready, you're recording, and it just means none of the buttons on the screen will do anything then. So you can't accidentally bump a button and stop recording or change a setting. So that's quite handy, although it is just a slide button, but it's I think you have to hold it off to turn that off, so it should be fairly safe, I expect. That's pretty much it. Oh, there is this proprietary zoom port. I won't try and take it off. There's a cover on there anyway, and that's a special port that will attach other zoom microphones actually. Like you can get a shotgun mic and sit it on top of your camera. There's a special dual mic for interviewing and all sorts of stuff. Will actually connect straight on top of that, which I don't think I'll be worrying about at this stage, but you never know. It's more all about just having that portable audio for me, and the lapel mic I think is going to work the best. All right, Actually, I think I should start recording on this for the rest of this video, and maybe you'll tell some difference. So yeah, I'll plug this lapel mic in now, and we'll go over the screen. I'll actually be recording my voice to this. Let's start using it. All right, I'm back. I'm recording to the Zoom. How easy is that? Plug it in, press the big red button. So yeah, you'll be able to tell the sound quality difference, if anything, between that mic and this one. I've got the audio set to 96 kilohertz 24-bit, which is a bit fancy for my requirements, but I guess it gives you a bit of latitude, you know, a bit more information there, you know, if we've got to pull something back or clean up the audio a bit, especially when you're outside and that sort of stuff. All right, well, let's go over this little screen again, show you some of the settings a bit more. So yeah, you got the 4 buttons along the bottom. Record formats, which is between, you know, various MPEG or MP3 formats of different sampling rates. That's the word. And then you got the WAV file. So I'm at the best quality one at the moment. You have a low cut filter, and from what I understand, I'm not much of an audiophile. What I understand is, you know, that might cut out wind noise or other deep rumblings, and you can set it to different levels. You have a limiter, and from what I understand, a limiter is something that stops your audio clipping, basically. I guess this will be a digital limiter. You hear good and bad things about such things. I'm not going to use that at this stage. Hopefully that's a good thing. We'll find out. From what I understand, if you've got someone using this who, you might be laughing a lot, maybe it's someone doing a speech at a wedding or whatever you're using it for, if the audio level can suddenly really change quite quickly, yeah, the limiter might be quite handy, just so you don't clip your audio. A bit like, blowing out your highlights in photography, I guess. And the last button is just your record level, and that has just different settings like, low, minus, low, plus, medium, minus and plus, and high, and then high, minus and plus. So I'm just set to high at the moment. That seems to work okay, just looking at these little bars bouncing across the screen as I'm talking. You've got an option button there and a play and pause button. That'll be for reviewing your audio. Again, let's try this hold switch. I'm going to switch it to hold. The message hold comes up on the thing. So if I press the record button now, can't stop the recording, so that's quite handy. So I'm pressing all the buttons and you just get a hold error up there, so it's not letting me change anything while that side button's on hold. So that's just a good little safety switch, isn't it? Alright guys, well, I'm going to have a listen to this audio, then I'm going to show you a few scenarios on how I'm going to use this and what I hope to get out of it. So yeah, stick around. Alright, so let's talk about how we record the audio and then we sync it with our footage that we're taking. As mentioned, I'm recording the audio to a memory card in this, so it's completely separate from the camera. Now my basic strategy, and which I think will work pretty well in most situations, is I actually do record on the camera audio as well. So as I'm recording right now, the camera, it's got a little inbuilt microphone, it's recording my audio. So I've actually set the camera back a bit just to highlight more how poor the quality is of the inbuilt microphone on the camera. I'm a fair way back. And I'll just switch to that now. So yeah, testing 1, 2, 3, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. So yeah, I'm recording audio on the actual memory card in the camera as well, as I always do when you record video, and it's just that inbuilt memory card. Now the reason why it's still good to get that audio is you actually use that audio to sync with the audio I'm recording on this. So yeah, let's chuck this card in the computer. I'll show you how you do that. It's really easy in Premiere and most editing applications, I expect. Alright, so I'm sitting at Adobe Premiere at the moment. This is the bit I just recorded. You might recognise. When I play it back, I'm recording the audio to a memory card in this, so it's completely separate from the camera. You can hear that audio is quite ordinary. That's just the in-camera audio as mentioned. So yeah, I've plugged the Zoom F1 into the computer just via the USB port. I find that's a lot easier than just taking the memory card out and putting it in a card reader. It's quite simple. And I've imported this WAV file that was on the memory card in the Zoom. So I'm just going to drag that over to a new timeline. Okay, so yeah, this is the track from the Zoom, the audio track, and this is our video and audio from the camera, of course. So to sync these together, basically I right click these guys first. Let's unlink them. That just makes the audio separate from the video track. Now I can just shift click both audio tracks, so that's the audio from the camera and the audio from the zoom, and just go right click and go synchronize. Make sure audio is selected. It'll do a bit of processing for a sec. Alright, so let's talk about how we record the audio and then we sync it with our footage. So as you can see, it doesn't tell us much, there's no image. That's because the video track's back here. So basically it's moved this camera audio to be aligned with this bottom track. So all we have to do now is trim this track to be the same as that. There's probably better ways to do this. I can just move that straight there now. I know that's the same length as that one, and it should be synced. We sync it with our footage that we're taking. As mentioned, I'm recording the audio to a memory card in this, so it's completely separate from the camera. There you go, perfectly synced. I'm going to delete this old audio track. So that's basically it. So yeah, basically Adobe Premiere has just matched both waveforms. So the waveform of the poorer quality in-camera recording, and then the waveform of the zoom audio recording, which is much better quality. So yeah, even though the quality of the camera stuff is pretty poor, it's just handy for that syncing, so it can do that waveform matching. And one of the cool things I can do now, of course, with off-camera audio recording is actually record the audio when I'm using my drone. Now my drone doesn't have an inbuilt microphone at all, for obvious reasons. All you'd hear is the fan blades, wouldn't you? So yeah, this is very cool. Now you might wonder, how do you sync the audio if it's not actually recording, so we don't have that waveform to match? Well, all I do, I'm going to tap my microphone like this side on so I can see when my hand hits it and releases it, and I'll just use that spike in the audio to actually just line it visually. How cool is that? I can now record audio using my drone. Alright, let's go back to the office. We'll go through this footage and I'll show you how I sync it using that clap I did on my chest. Alright guys, we're back in the office looking at the drone footage and the zoom audio I recorded during that session. Now one thing I've discovered is that my peaks and everything are pretty maxed out here. Maybe I had the volume levels a little bit wrong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Adobe Audition and we'll have a look at this. So basically I just hope to isolate that peak where I hit the button. Alright, so this is the audio in Adobe Audition, and you get this package with the Adobe suite, of course. So yeah, I think part of the issue is the drone noise in the background, but we do have a lot of peaks. So I'm going to, by the way, I'm not an expert at all in Adobe Audition. I've just watched a fefew YouTube tutorials and all that, very much a newbie at this, but we'll see how we go. So I'm going to try and just normalize this audio, just so we have something a bit more reasonable to work with. And so we've just normalized that to -3 dB. I'll just play a bit of it and releases it, and I'll just use that. Actually, I was just after that bit where I hit my chest, wasn't I? So let's have a look there. So I can see when oh, that was it there. So I'm going to scroll up with my mouse button, move this over a bit, and look, I can see that peak just there. Actually, you can see it in the spectrum side of stuff. So just to test that, let's just highlight that bit, press me spacebar. I'm pretty sure that's it. Let's just see. Yeah, so it's definitely that little bit there. So I'm just going to highlight that. I'm just going to turn this one up just so more visually than anything else. Just so I'll see that back in Adobe then. While I'm here, maybe I'll try and get rid of a bit of this drone noise, eh? Again, don't like me chances at doing this. I'm not very good at this. But first of all, we just have to find a bit of the audio that is just drone noise. Let's try that. Spacebar to repeat that part. That's pretty good. I'm going to go effects again, noise reduction. We'll bring this over here. Capture the noise print, so that'll be the part that I've got selected there. Now I'm going to select the total file, and let's just see how well we remove this. we'll go play there. And one of the cool things I can do now, of course, with off-camera audio recording is actually record the audio when I'm using my drone. Now my drone doesn't have an inbuilt microphone at all, for obvious reasons. All you'd hear is the fan blades, wouldn't you? So yeah, this is very cool. Now you might wonder, how do you sync the audio if it's not actually recording, so we don't have that waveform to match? So yeah, I think that's removed it a little bit. It's not great. As I say, I'm a bit of a noob at all this. So I'm just going to save that. So my main goal, yeah, was to just to get that peak where I tap my chest. Alright, so we're back in Premiere, and yep, it worked. Looks like we've got a little peak there where our audio maxed out a bit, and that'll be that that tap there. So now I'll just I'll find the part of the video where I tap my chest. This way more. And I'm sure there's a better way to do this. Here we go, tap my chest. Just there. Alright. Again, I'm sure there's a better way to do this, but to mark this, I'm just going to cut it there. And now I'll bring this audio to that cut. And I think we're pretty good there. And let's see how it looks. So I'll zoom back out. I think this part of the video must just be me taking off with the drone, all that sort of stuff. Here we go. And one of the cool things I can do now, of course, with off-camera audio recording is actually record the audio when I'm using my drone. Now my drone doesn't have an inbuilt microphone at all, for obvious reasons. All you'd hear is the fan blades, wouldn't you? So yeah, this is very cool. And there you go, it's synced. So yeah, often people will clap their hands or whatever. I couldn't clap my hands in that case because I was holding the controller for the drone. But yeah, you get the picture. Maybe I had my audio levels a bit higher there, so that peak didn't stand out. And it's just something to make sure, maybe hit it a bit firmly and make sure your audio levels are right. Cool. So yeah, in hindsight with the drone, I was probably actually yelling a bit because of the noise of the drone, and I'm standing outside. So that's probably why the audio levels are a bit high. So yeah, something to keep in mind next time. So to be honest, I guess, you know, recording with the drone's probably not that useful really. It's either going to be that close, you know, so you can see your lips moving. You'll then have the drone noise too high. And if you're that far away, well, you can just do a voiceover and no one will know whether the lip sync is out or not. But yeah, no, I am looking forward to using this Zoom F1. It's a great little thing. I'm also wondering, about possibilities just recording nature sounds. There's a thunderstorm or some bird life, and just putting it in a tree somewhere with a different sort of mic on it and getting some real cool nature sounds as well. So yeah, keep posted. I reckon it'll be a bit of fun using this little Zoom F1. And if nothing else, as I say, hopefully you're not putting up with some really bad audio quality in some of my videos that I've demonstrated from now on. Hopefully all better. Alright guys, thanks again. Really appreciate if you subscribe, like the video. Don't forget to press the little bell as well. That'll alert you to any new videos. Yeah, lots of wildlife photography, nature photography, storm chasing, and just little tips and hints. And as you've gathered from this video, I'm not an expert in all this video and audio stuff, but I'm learning along the way, and hopefully you can learn along with me and at least get a few little handy tips. Alright guys, I'll check out now. Take care and see you next time.